Welcome back to Chakra Free Radio. I'm Gopal.
I'm Ray.
I'm Jack.
We'd like to thank you for joining us for this episode titled Coach's Honor, where we'll be diving into some specific topics around the tremendous sacrifice that coaches, especially youth coaches, make to help advance the lives of younger individuals. You know, when we look at most spiritual traditions, there tends to be a very heavy emphasis on selfless service, both as a means to help others, but also to purify the individual consciousness. Now, sometimes when we think about selfless service in a spiritual context, we might tend to think about big projects like building hospitals or schools for underserved children. But the reality is that all of us can perform selfless service in our own lives. And in this episode, we want to spend some time discussing youth coaching and the tremendous sacrifice that these volunteers make to engage with and interact with younger individuals. So before we get into the details of the episode, I'd like to introduce our guest, Mr. Jack Humsey. Now, Ray and Jack have known each other for a long time. Like, when did you guys meet?
I want to say like 14, 15.
Sometime around then.
Yeah, we met at, I was at WMA. I got kicked out, and then I went up my sophomore year to to visit, and I was there with one of my other friends that I was there previously in the year before, and then me and Jack, I don't know, we just like, it was like a game room called like the Spa. And then he found out that I was from Boston, and then I found out he was from Boston, and then I don't know, that was really it. And then we just, it was corny back then, so like threes up, and we were just doing all stuff like that, and yeah.
So just for some quick background on Jack, so he grew up in the Boston area and attended multiple prep schools in the area. Which schools did you go to?
Oh man, there's a list here. So I attended Wilbraham Munson Academy first. I attended the Hillside School. Actually, prior to that, that was a prep boarding school for middle school students. So that school started in 5th grade and actually prepared you for the life of prep school after. So it went to 9th grade. So I transitioned to Wilbraham Munson Academy after that. Had a brief hiatus with prep school, and then followed that up with attending the Winchendon Prep School to finish up my high school career. So bit of a journeyman in that regard.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And Jack's a passionate basketball coach. And we're excited to have him on for this episode because he's coached at a lot of different levels. He's coached both at prep school level, also with the AAU, and has also had some experience at the collegiate level at Lehigh University. So thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So I just want to say up front, Ray and Jack both have experience coaching. I don't. Because frankly, I don't have the patience for it. So I would love to hear from both of you. Just what got you into coaching? What drew you into it?
I mean, for me, my old principal literally just like called me up and asked me 2 years ago if I wanted to coach baseball. And I said, this is where I fell in love with the game, so I might as well finish and try to, I was never like the top prospect or like any of that. In terms of baseball, I just did it for the love of the game. And that's what I wanted to transition and, teach not only the kids about baseball at Nativity, but wanted to follow up Nativity's tradition and just how we were like men for others there. So,
yeah. See, so wait, you're coaching where now?
I coach at Nativity Prep, Boston. So, and then my best friend Giovanni, he coaches with me, and I don't know, that's where a lot of like tradition and stuff was instilled in me. So like I just go back there and try to replicate what we did when we were younger.
Yeah. And Jack?
Definitely. Yeah. I'd say a lot of things kind of to preface this. A lot of amazing and like great things start from perhaps places that are, uncertain, or, the path may not be the straightest. And when it comes to coaching, the way that I got involved with that endeavor was actually through some unfortunate events. I was playing lacrosse in college. That didn't really work out. And I was sitting at my mother's kitchen table, really kind of down on my luck, not really knowing the direction as a business major of where I wanted to focus my extracurricular attention to. And she said, Jack, one thing that has always been an important part of your life has been basketball. Have you thought about getting back into that? And I, honestly said no. And I kind of took that challenge to try to become a youth basketball coach. So I got youth basketball coach certified with the USA Basketball. That was kind of the first step. I then started coaching AAU basketball. Shout out to the Grind Nose, TGK, out of Saco, Maine. They really gave me my first opportunity to become a youth volunteer basketball coach and go to middle schools and run clinics and host a number of different camps. And from there, that kind of transitioned into coaching at the collegiate level at Lehigh University and the University of California, Los Angeles, where I was a video coordinator and advanced scout and kind of took that step to a different level.
Great. Well, we want to get back to this concept of the selfless service aspect of coaching. And, obviously we see headlines about, the Nick Sabans and the Bill Belichick's getting paid, whatever, 7, 10, 15 million bucks a year. But this is, coaching at the youth level is truly a gift to the, the youths involved. I'm just curious from both of you, like, did you have any personal experiences with coaches that kind of inspired you to go forward with this?
I mean, I've had bad experiences and I had good experiences. Like I said, with Nativity, that's where I found like the best coaching. You know what I mean? Like those were like the role models that I like went through like my whole life for. You know what I mean? Like they were just constantly just giving their time all the time, and they were good men. You know what I mean? When I got to WMA, I mean, that's where like, opened my eyes. Like there was a couple bad coaches there that I got. A couple coaches told me that I probably shouldn't play baseball no more, that I was more gifted at football.
Right.
And I mean, baseball was just for the love of the game for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I love it. It's like bleeds through me. And when you just tell a kid that, I think it just like changes their whole psyche about everything. And then I finished up at Charlestown, and there was really no coaching at Charlestown. I was probably like coaching myself, to be honest with you, because it was like, you know what I mean? Like, I still respected the coaches, but it was like they were just there, they were there for the money. I think all the coaches on the outside. I mean, it was nothing that I really like learned that that I take with me today. You know what I mean? Like, I probably learned more from like listening to interviews about like Bill Belichick and all of them, and like listening to Mark Jackson and all those guys in terms of like basketball, and trying to like give those pieces now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Jack?
I think it's funny how our stories are not completely aligned, but there's certainly a lot of parallel. I don't have many coaches when it comes to basketball or lacrosse, for that matter, that stick out in my mind. For one, I attended some of the best, or I would say highly touted schools. So my basketball journey ended pretty damn quickly. Yeah, they knew what it was, and I knew what it was. But in terms of the coaching aspect and the selfless service, because of the moving around to different schools, I may have gotten a connection with one coach or another, but ended up leaving, and that connection would kind of fade away. So I think my ambition and passion around the volunteer aspect of coaching and the service aspect really stems from my passion to be around kids and be around the youth. And I kind of don't have a script for what we do. I know Ray doesn't have a script for what he does, but he uses his intuition and he uses his passion to kind of, go through what he goes through. And that's it. I really don't I don't feel like there's a manual to coach. I feel like it's just letting your personality and letting your passion kind of shine through.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, like, not to keep harping about Nativity, but one thing that those men used to tell me or tell us as individual players was they don't care if we go out there and get smacked, right? They really don't. As long as we went out there and we played with our heart every single time, you know what I mean? We dove for loose balls. We challenged every you know what I mean? We challenged every opponent no matter what, you know what I mean? No matter if they were taller than you, faster than you, bigger than you, it did not matter. So I think that's probably the only thing that I take with me now. I don't care if these kids suck at baseball. You know what I mean? I don't care if they strike out 35 times. But you're going to hold your head high when you walk back to the dugout. You're going to hold your head high every time we step out on the mound. You know what I mean? You make an error, hold your head high. You make mistakes. People make mistakes. You know how many errors we had as kids? You know what I mean? Like, it does not matter. And I think when you beat kids down like that, it just, one, it probably can fuel them. But then also, like, they start to not listen to you, I feel like. They start to think, oh, my God, like, I'm like I'm letting him down. You know what I mean? Like, there's this, like, we have a kid at first base, and he, like, the play's going on, and he, like, looks at me, like, while the play's going on, like, to see, like, our, like, faces. And I'm like, bro, look at the ball. Look at the play. Don't worry about my face. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, stop worrying about what you see over here. Like, I'm going to make a face no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, it does not matter. Finish the play and just let it go. You know what I mean? Let it go. Let's move on to the next play. Let's move on to the next pitch. Let's move on to the next out. It does not matter to me.
Right. Yeah, and for me, it's a deeply personal story. I was an obsessive about baseball when I was growing up, and this is in the fourth grade. I was 10 years old, playing in a small town just outside of Pittsburgh called Murraysville, and I was in this game. There was a kid in my school who was an amazing pitcher, like lights out. And this game, I was finally going to go up to bat against him. You know, I mean, I'd thought about it for like a good week or two beforehand. I was like, I got to face this kid. And I went up there, and I can still visualize it, 35 years later. This kid wasted me, like 3 pitches, I'm out. Mm-hmm. I mean, kid had a nasty, nasty split-fingered fastball. I can still visualize that ball kind of coming across the plate. And I'm pretty good about holding my emotions in. So I made it back to the bench, and then I just started sobbing.
How old are you?
I was 10. And the reason why is because that was it. That was my one shot against him, and I'd blown it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, the things you worry about as a 10-year-old. I mean, this is.
I mean, I've learned with sports though, like I mean, baseball, you're gonna have 3 to 4 opportunities, right?
Yeah.
I mean, basketball, you're gonna have tons of opportunities. Football, you know what I mean, you're gonna have tons of opportunities. But it's about confidence. You know what I mean? The more, if you go up there thinking, especially in baseball, you go up there thinking you're going to strike out.
Yeah.
You're probably going to strike out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's been times where I went up to the bat. I mean, when I went up to the plate, and I literally just said, Ray, just put it in play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if there's a man on base, I move him over. If there's not a man on base, you know what I mean? If it's just a grounder, at least I know that I put it in play. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And so this is, I'm on the bench sobbing, and I'll never forget this. The assistant coach comes over, pats me on the back, and says, "Hey, it's okay. Babe Ruth struck out hundreds of times."
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, even now, I kind of tear up about it, because whenever I've had dark times where I've screwed up, and there's been a lot of them over the years, I always remember what that coach said.
Yeah.
And it's just such a small thing, but that, 35 years later, that the impact of that one act of kindness, so it's I think it can be a really remarkable thing for younger people to have that experience.
Yeah. What I want to know is, I mean, I watched you coach, right? Have you coached 10-year-olds and up?
Yeah. Starting at, even 8-year-olds at some of the Boston College basketball camps and Florida State basketball camps. Those kids love hoops.
So how was it? How would you say, I mean, because you're dealing with grown adults when you get to college, what's the difference between those 8-year-olds and those grown men in D1?
I think when it comes to the men that are playing collegiate basketball, Division I basketball, it's definitely a job for them. It's also an interview for them. Every night they step on the court, it's an interview for scouts. It's an interview for their coaches. It's an interview for their peers, right? They want to be able to match up against their competition when they lace them up and step on the hardwood. But when there's kids involved, it comes to a place where you can really see that at that exact moment, basketball is the only thing that matters to them.
Yeah.
When they, sometimes when I'm hooping, other things enter my mind that are just inescapable, things that we go through in life, things that we have to kind of persevere through. But one thing that I noticed when I was coaching youth basketball was just there was nothing in that exact moment that mattered other than them having fun with their friends, goofing off, not listening to me, and hooping. And I think that's kind of, I think that's super impactful to kind of witness and see just how much the game can change somebody's day. Who knows what those kids go through as soon as they walk out of the schoolyard. But for that exact moment that we were running those drills, they could kind of forget about all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to hit on that point, and this is for a lot of kids growing up in difficult household situations. Their coach may be the only person, the only adult who kind of has that parental stamp or parental authority over them. I'm just curious from both of you, your experience just dealing with kids. I mean, what's it like?
I'll just give one example because there's been two different kinds of kids that I've dealt with. I've dealt with kids in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. For those who know where Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts is, it's a very affluent place, affluent town in the Boston suburban area. And then I've dealt with kids that have lived in some of the rural parts of southern Maine. So we're talking about, in terms of, I guess you could say, social status or, the money that their parents might have had at the time, a very high disparity. And so some of the things that the kids would have in Chestnut Hill would be, cell phones and Game Boys, things that they shouldn't have at a basketball camp. But, in Maine, there would just be a much more, I would say, attentiveness to, when I come to camp or when I come to this clinic, we're hooping. And so there was a difference in terms of that, but when it comes down to it, they're kids, so they're going to act the way that they act. But I don't know. I definitely feel like where you grow up, to kind of round this long-winded soliloquy off, where you grow up definitely plays a role in how you approach things like youth sports.
I think the 5th and 6th graders, to me, have been like the easiest to put your impression on. And 7th and 8th graders, they're just 7th graders. They're like, eh. But then when they get to 8th grade, bro, they just. I watch them like during the hall, like, you know what I mean, when their classes, they don't even care, bro. The 8th grade, they just become like. They care a little bit, but like they want to get to the next part, you know what I mean, and that's fine, you know what I mean. I'm cool with that, but I don't. When you come to practice, bro, we either gonna practice or you're gonna sit down. Like simple. Like, I keep it real simple. Like I want to have fun, but I also like want to like make sure that we're learning something.
What is the age range of the teams that you coach? Is it like 7th and 8th graders on one team, or is it 6th, 7th, and 8th all on one team?
The whole like 5.
That's a different range.
5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
And usually it wasn't really like that in Nativity, right? They only did like, when I was there, they only did like 6 to 7. Like I made every single team as a 6th grader, but it depends. So I would never take 5th graders, but the first year that I was there, we had 2 studs. When I mean studs, them boys are studs, and they know who they are too. They are studs, and I can't wait to see what they look like, in the rest of their baseball journey, because they play like three different leagues, and I hope to be able to see them, prosper in high school, and I hope they even go to college or the major leagues, because I think that's how good they are, and I hope that they learned a little bit of something, and that's why I'm so hard on them whenever, specifically them two, whenever they're inside, whenever we're, around each other, I'd be like, chill out. Like I'll walk by the classroom, like, relax.
Yeah. So, I think we all kind of conceive of youth sports as something that's supposed to be fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it crosses over and, can be, and you mentioned some negative,
Yeah.
negative kind of outcomes. This is my question to both of you is just how much of the focus needs to be about the competition versus, making it just a fun personal development thing.
Definitely depends on who you're coaching, number one. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Netflix series Friday Night Tykes. It's focused on football for kids in Texas. These guys, we got these parents lying about their children, where they live, lying about their age. It's the youth one. Those parents need to chill. But on the other side,
but that, not to cut you off, that's also Texas though. Like,
right.
They take football very serious.
Right, but lying about your kid's age and forging a birth certificate, I think there's a special place in hell for folks like that. Yeah. But hey, to each his own. I definitely say it's a product of your environment. So like, where in the maturation of these kids are you? Like, which level you are? For me, I always try to be 50-50 when it comes to the youth and to kids. I really want them to have that aspect of, hey, this is a game at the end of the day. This game can take you places if you take it serious enough. But this is a game at the end of the day. You have a life after this. But then the competitiveness and that sort of spirit that you want to kind of instill in these kids is, you want to be competitive on the court the way that you hopefully can be competitive in life. You don't want to be complacent. You don't want to be in a situation where you're second guessing yourself on the mound, or you're second guessing yourself on the court. You want to be assured that the work that you put in is validated. So I think that there should be a steady dose of both when it comes to coaching youth sports. And then when it comes to coaching at the collegiate level, there's now such a business side to it. And that was actually not prevalent when I was coaching. NIL did not exist. Mm-hmm. So a story that I like to tell folks is coaching at Lehigh University, which is on the we would say lower D1 on that kind of spectrum or scale. We would still have folks from the NCAA coming and talking to us about things that you can do, things that you can't do. Obviously, sports betting is never going to be allowed for the student athletes, and then performance enhancing drugs. But that was the first time where I understood that, like, this is a business.
Right.
Like they didn't talk about you win trophies. Like, nah, none of that. It was strictly about the product that was being output. And that's when I realized that there was levels to this. And so for those men, I sure hope that we instilled a sense of fun and a sense of competitiveness, but there's no real comparison when it comes to the youth sports and how we approached things.
Did you have any bad parent, like any parent stories, like anything that was like, all right?
It's funny because like my dad, I wish I had, this is going to sound bad, I wish I had my dad being remotely close to this parent that I'm about to talk about. My dad would take me to the park, and he was the most supportive, amazing dad. I love him. Ray, my father, he is the farthest thing from an athlete that you can find. My man would come to the court, and as a kid, you just want to get shots up. You just want to do things. My dad would bring his book, find the shadiest spot, and post up. But he was there, and I can't thank my dad. Dad, appreciate you for just being there. But anyway, I digress. That is a parent that is around and supportive, but not in the way that I need. I needed my man to rebound from me. I needed to get this shot working. And again, why I turned into coaching. But there was a parent at Lehigh, and after a game, this kid was one of the best kids, I would say, on the team in terms of talent. And we won. And I saw this dad just ripping into his son for missing free throws. Now, listen, I'm always going to maybe joke around, with hopefully one day I'm lucky enough to have kids, and I may joke around and bust their butt or whatever about stuff. But my man won the game. I'm pretty sure he had 15 points, and his dad was just reaming him as he's walking down the stairs. And the look on this kid's face He couldn't look at his dad in the eye. You know, he was defeated, and it just as a coach and as a lower level coach, I couldn't really intervene, and nor did I feel like it was my place. But man, that is something that even a 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old will always still have feelings and always still have a sense of, did I do enough to win my parents' favor? And if you're in a situation like that, I felt pretty bad.
Yeah.
In terms of me, I'll answer the first part of the question first. Whenever you step on the field, bro, like you want to win. You know, nobody wants to lose. But you just want to have fun. So that's what I like try to tell them every single time, just to make sure that like, we're taking this serious. But like, because you play for there, you don't have your last name on the jersey, but you playing for what's across the jersey, right?
In Texas, they do.
It's different, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they have names in college, right? So you're playing for both, right? But in the lower tier, you're playing for what's across your chest. So you're playing for nativity prep. So you're playing for the tradition of nativity prep. So that's what I try to talk to them about. But I don't ever never gonna talk like crazy to a kid, bro. Like I don't ever want a kid to feel less than. So that's not what I'm in it for. I'd rather just take them out of the game. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to perform, then you can sit right next to me on the bench. But that's for that first part. For the second part, I just had only one bad experience for this one player. I mean, this parent, like, she was just talking crazy, bro. Like, she's like, my kid only got in for an inning. And I'm like, your kid barely comes to practice.
Right.
Because he's getting, you know what I mean? He's getting detentions, he's not. And when he's there, he's not like really paying attention or whatever. So it's like, there's only so much talking that I can do.
Now, imagine if that kid wasn't going to class, was getting in trouble. The main differentiator, and sorry to interject, that I felt with, Division I basketball is you don't want to work, bye-bye scholarship.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to class, bye-bye scholarship. It's hard to tell an adolescent anything remotely to that.
Yeah. And mind you, I still put the kid in. You know what I mean? Like, even in a close game, still put him in. And that's, you know what I mean? And we lost. But hey man, I still put you in. and I just heard his mom just like at the end of the game just trashing me and my boy, and I'm just like, do you know what it's like to be out here with 17 to 18 kids, like trying to make sure that they're listening to you, telling them, yo, chill, let's go, let's hone it back in, let's calm down. You know what I mean? Tuck your jerseys in. You know what I mean? Throw straight. Like it's hard, and especially, and I get it. They've been cooped up for like 7 a.m. to about 2, 3, and now it's time to, you know what I mean? Just go crazy, and I understand that, but I just, I wanted to say something to her, but I was like, you know what, man? We lost by one run. The kid got in. That's all I can really say.
Yeah. Well, we talk. I mean, I feel like a lot of episodes we come back to this more morbid question.
What?
Well, eventually
I say it a lot.
Yeah. We all go, right.
Yeah.
And at the moment of your passing, are you going to sit there and think about? I don't. Maybe some people will, but are you going to think about like the?
What, that you lost?
That you lost, or the game your kid, you felt like should have been in for longer?
Yeah, I mean, I hope not. I hope that's not what they think about, especially when the kid doesn't really care about it. But you know what I mean? Right. I mean, I think about like all of my losses from like when we was playing back in the days. Like I always think about them days. I mean, I remember specific plays like, damn, I should have had that block. Or like, you know what I mean? I should have threw a curveball instead of throwing a fastball, and homie just yanked it 400 feet. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things, you know what I mean? Like, I specific plays where I got injured, like I should have took myself out. You know what I mean? I should have told the coach like, yo, my arm is tapped. You know what I mean? So, right. But for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever played for like a YMCA league for like a town or anything, Boys and Girls Club,
No.
anything like that?
I mean, I played for a church baseball league.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty intense. Like,
Okay, yeah.
I was like, yo, is this church league? But dude, there was a lot of everybody knows that the Spanish kids are like the top tier. Like, you know what I mean? Especially I grew up in, you know, the what do we call it? Rural? Is it rural? No,
It's definitely not rural. It's urban, I would say.
yeah. Urban. I grew up in the urban like area, so we had them kids playing Daddy Yankee going up to the batter's box. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, yo, I thought this was 12 to 15. Why is this kid 18 just yanking my ball? Pause.
I am 12.
You like, and it's just bench warmers. But those church league was crazy, bro. Like, I had this one friend, and it was just three of us. It was we were always together for like basically my whole childhood. And his dad was like that parent that you're talking about. But his son was better at basketball than he was at baseball. He was just playing baseball because he loved playing with us, right? We lost the championship game in the church league, right? He was like, y'all made me get up at 7 a.m. for this? Y'all gonna lose at I'm like, damn, we lost by 1 run, 2 outs, bro. Like, chill. Like, he was talking to us. We wasn't even his son.
Yeah.
He was talking because it was me and my boy Nick and, you know, Isaiah. And he was yelling at me. He was yelling at Nick. He gave it to his son, bro. Like, he was just, I was like, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was about to ask, so did Jesus ever come up or the Bible ever come up in this church league, or was it just
no. It was just strictly sports. I mean, we definitely did a prayer before the game. We did a prayer after the game. So they kept it like that. But like they was not giving us scriptures and stuff. We was trying to win.
And I think we should maybe expand on this topic of negative coaching experiences, or whatever. But I the last time I really played any kind of organized sport was in the 9th grade. I was playing basketball, and the coach, I mean, it's tough to coach 9th graders. I mean, I and again, it was a volunteer thing for him. But the one thing I'm kind of hesitant to even repeat it, but he would just constantly, we would have a hard time getting together to do drills or whatever. And he would constantly scream at us, quit jacking off.
Yeah.
And that experience kind of killed it for me. I'm like, I don't need to be, I don't need to be yelled at like this for like, like a league that I don't really care that much about,
I think some people are okay with the yelling if we respect.
Yeah.
If we respect the person yelling at us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we see their achievements, you know what I mean? Like, because if AI is yelling at you, you're going to take it serious because you've seen him do it. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure if Manny Ramirez was yelling at me, I would have stopped whatever I was doing and just been straight, zoned in the whole time that Manny was in front of me, you know what I mean, coaching me. But I think we tend to have that when we really like, all right, man. I mean, that's probably what the kids do to me now. They're like, what does this guy know? You know what I mean? And that's fine. But they're gonna see this passion no matter what. For me, I don't care about none of that. They're gonna see this passion. I may not be Manny, but we gonna learn today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to say, again, related to this topic of spirituality, there's a lot of people out there maybe looking for gurus or teachers. The same rules apply in spiritual gurus as apply in, youth coaching. Like, there's some good gurus and there's a lot of, not great teachers out there. So just keep your eyes open if it's something that you're trying to pursue. Think hard and long about who you, kind of want to accept as a teacher.
Yeah. There's kids like those two, like kids that I was talking about on the baseball team, where they've asked, us, like, as coaches, what did I do wrong? And those are the people that, you spend extra time with. Can we throw? You know what I mean? Specifically, can we throw? What are you seeing? Can we get some extra grounders? Can we get some extra pop-ups? Like, those are the things that like we love as coaches. I specifically wanted to ask you, what was it like? What was your head coaches like? Like, when you were coaching, right? So like you're different, like you were lower on the staff, but what was the head coaches like when you were there? Did you take anything from them, or like were they like, you know,
At the collegiate level or for youth basketball?
collegiate?
First off, I think that I was incredibly blessed to work alongside the head coaches that I was working with. I just want to start by saying that I was given an opportunity with a little to very small resume. So essentially or effectively, they took a chance on me. I called 99 schools after following my senior year in order to get the position at Lehigh. It sounds like a movie, but it really was. Lehigh was the 100th school that I cold called, and the assistant coach, Harry Mora, picked up the phone. I kind of sold my soul on the phone, and I got an interview from that. I had gotten into a bit of trouble that summer, and I was ordered to essentially do community service. And the first day at community service, I was working at, you could call it like a Buffalo Exchange or one of those places where you donate. Salvation Army. So they have a bunch of clothes, but they also have a bunch of machinery. And it was my job to test the machinery. And so I'm like testing this one machine. I end up clipping my finger. So I had to get my finger sewed to my hand. And a week later was my Lehigh in-person interview. So I walk up to head coach Brett Reed try to shake him with the wrong hand, basically. And so from then, I mean, I'm like, well, this is going to go one or two ways. And it was kind of symbolic in the sense of he saw my imperfections, literally. And he basically took me under his wing in a form of tutelage that was spiritual, because he was a man of God. And so he oftentimes brought me to church with his family, which was an amazing experience that I can't thank him enough for. But he saw a young man that had nobody living with him, paying for every meal, doing DoorDash and Uber Eats. It was an unpaid position, and he would bring me to do family meals and interact with his family because he knew I had nobody out there. And so that experience alone, I mean, Brett Reed, the coach, amazing coach. Brett Reed, the man, even better man. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. And again, you know, in his case, I mean, he's being paid for the job, but the aspect of selfless service is obviously still there based on your experience.
100%.
I mean, that's just how like that area was, though. That area was nice, man. Like they were nice people. Because when I went to visit him, like the breakfast shop he brought us to, super nice.
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Shout out to the Goose.
Yeah,
best chicken parm sandwich out there.
We told them our name one time and we went back there the next day and they knew our names. So I was like, oh, these people are nice out here.
Remember, I brought him to watch a game at UCLA the next year, and or was it the Lehigh game? I forget which year it was. Where
we went to the Lehigh Holy Cross game, but we was in Holy Cross.
But didn't the first game that you and Teddy went to, they said it was an exhibition game, so there couldn't be any fans. So you guys went all the way out there for nothing.
Yeah,
I felt terrible about that.
And then the UCLA one, when we went to UCLA, it was fire. Like we was literally like 2 rows behind like his coaching position. I was like,
we hooked him up.
Yeah, this was nice. This was nice. Great campus. It was like everything you've seen like in the movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anything else we want to hit on or?
No, I mean, if you're coaching out there, just be patient. Know that you are making an indent in whichever kid's life, and you don't know what they're going through on the outside. So
yeah. I just want to say, if we think of every individual as kind of a reflection of the infinite consciousness or God's consciousness, imagine the impact a coach is having on this, little quantum of consciousness. Just especially when they're involved at a young age. I mean, I think for coaches out there, I hope you really understand just how big an impact you can have on people and the impact that can persist for decades and decades. And if you're out there coaching, I hope you understand just what a great thing it is you're doing and treat it accordingly.
I would agree. I don't have too much to say in closing, but for folks that have a passion and maybe that passion is forgotten, and one of those passions is in the form of coaching, there's nothing more gratifying than helping folks with, that align with the same passion that you have. It's an incredible experience. It's a headache. You're going to go through a lot of sleepless nights, but there's nothing more rewarding than getting out there on the field or getting out there on the court and watching these young men and women do what they do. I still feel like I can beat all of them, but
And I would say for players, even if you think that the coach really don't know what he's talking about or anything, just go out there and respect them and respect the game at the end of the day.
Parents too.
Yeah.
Parents, for sure, parents.
Yeah. And respect the time that they're putting into it.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
If you've got a busy family life and you're dedicating even 5-6 hours a week, I mean, it's a big.
Those are 5-6 hours away from the kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
From his probably coaching time that he has with his kids.
Right.
So.
Jack, as our guest, is going to choose the donation, and he's chosen to dedicate it to the Parkinson's Foundation. Maybe, Jack, if you can speak a little bit about as to why it's such an important mission for you.
So the Parkinson's Foundation is definitely a charity and a movement that certainly means a lot to myself and my family. My wife's mother, unfortunately, was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and it's been something that has been a challenge, but also something that has definitely brought the family a lot closer over the last couple of years. And one of my good friend's father also was diagnosed with Parkinson's. So it's definitely an initiative and a foundation that I feel like everyone should be informed of and get behind, and definitely just trying to fight the good fight here.
Yeah, and I mean, a devastating disease. I think there's hopefully some hope for better treatments in the future. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough diagnosis, and I hope the people we were close to are able to deal with it.
100%.
All right. Well, are we ready for our minute? All right.
I was wondering if you guys forgot about that, but you do it at the end.
No, we got this at the end. So, a minute of unconditional love to all beings in all points of space and time.
Y'all ready? All right. That was good.
Yeah.
I felt amazing.
I know.
Well, this has been a great episode, and again, for all the coaches out there, thank you for your time and contribution.
I'm gonna go back to what we've been doing, like what I like to see or like what I hear in the moment, and got a little phrase. I think it fits this coaching episode. So it goes, one day or day one. One day or day one.
Yeah.
It's either you're gonna do it in that moment or you're gonna start the next day.
It's so tough.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really tough.
I personally think it's tough.
Yeah, it's. You know what I mean? I don't know who said it, but it made sense.
Yeah.
Get that copyrighted, man. I might get that tatted.
All right.
Yeah. Well, Jack, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. And until next time, this is Chakra Free Radio signing off.